Hey everybody, Daniel Fusco here, and welcome to today's 2-minute message. So I want to talk with you today about something that is very common. It's fear. And one of my favorite definitions of fear is F-E-A-R, false expectations appearing real. The idea of fear is that we're looking at something and we have expectations that may or may not happen. That's why they're false, but they appear like they're definitely going to happen. Now here's the thing that I want you to know. Everybody deals with fear. But really the question is for some of us that fear becomes debilitating and we struggle with it, and other people know how to put fear in its rightful place. So it's really about what you do with the fear. And the reason we have fear is because nobody knows what's going to happen next. In every situation, there's a million variables that could work out in a bunch of different ways. And what I've learned in life is that life almost never goes the way that I think it's going to. The things that I expect to happen, that almost never happens. And all sorts of other stuff goes on. So it's about really what do you do with it. And so I think the very first thing that you need to do is first, you need to acknowledge the fear. Listen, when you're functioning under fear, when you're living a fear-based life, when you are kind of gripped with fear, you have to acknowledge, hey, listen, I have fears in this situation. I'm nervous about this. And listen, I know that we live in a culture that doesn't value kind of articulations of weakness, those saying, hey, listen, I'm really struggling here, but it's super real and everyone feels that way. So I think we all need to have trusted people around us who we can acknowledge, hey, listen, I'm really struggling. Can you pray for me? Hey, I'm really fearful in this situation. Can you seek the Lord for me? We need those type of people in our lives. So first we need to acknowledge the fear. Second, and I always say it this way, that we need to substitute our fear for faith. Now, really what we're saying is that faith is fear when you put your fear into the hands of the Lord. See, a person who steps out in faith, they have all the questions about what's going to happen, but they still take the step anyway. So really, fear is when you don't know what's going to happen and you stay in one spot and you're immobilized. But faith is when you have that same feeling, but you trust God and then you simply start moving forward. And we need to substitute our fear for faith. We want to be able to take that step. We want to simply respond to Jesus. That's what I like to say. Even though we have that fear, what I can tell you from not only my life, but all the people that I know who've ever taken steps of faith, they have a lot of fears. They have a lot of questions about how it's going to work out. They feel vulnerable in that situation, but they still take the step anyway. And for you, if you're one of those people who really struggle with fear, I just want to encourage you to trust God and just take the step and see what happens. I told you this already. What I found is almost every time what I expect to happen never happens. And when I take the step, something happens that I didn't expect anyway. So either way, I have the wrong assumptions about what's going to happen going forward. And when I take the step, you begin to learn a whole bunch of things. But here's the thing that you need to realize. Faith is like a muscle. And the more that you get used to taking that fear and taking the step, the easier it becomes. And so in a lot of ways, it's about taking the first few steps. And once you take the first few steps, then all of a sudden, functioning in faith happens more effortlessly because we're used to it. That's what we do. First, I want you to share this video because all of us have fears. And for many of us, we're debilitated by fears, but we want to acknowledge what we're fearful of and we want to take the step anyway, right? And in the comment section, I want you to share and be a little vulnerable about ways that you have fear and how you're actively seeking to put feet on your faith. Take that step, even with the fear. Because what I want to tell you is this, even if you get used to taking those steps, you're still going to have fear sometimes, but we still just trust the Lord. So we're going to learn from one another and our experiences. And God bless you today.